Once upon a time, in a small town, there lived an old lady named Mrs. Patil. Now, Mrs. Patil was a kind and generous woman, but she was also very forgetful. That sounds like me. I keep forgetting my spectacles. And Mrs. Patil often found herself in need of help with everyday tasks.
One day, a kid inventor in the town heard about Mrs. Patil's struggles and decided to build her a robot to assist her. I wonder what that robot looks like. The robot, named R2LOL, was programmed with a sense of humor and a witty personality. The name R2LOL says a lot, right?
This robot R2LOL was delivered to Mrs. Patil's house and immediately began to make her laugh with its clever jokes and puns. It helped her with all sorts of tasks, from making her breakfast. I wonder what Mrs. Patil would like. What do you think? Would she like puris?
Yeah, probably, and then some roti and dal makhani.
Breakfast, not lunch.
Fine, dosa then.
Yeah, and R2LOL also used to do her laundry. So Mrs. Patil quickly grew to love R2LOL like a member of her own family.
One day, Mrs. Patil realized she needed to go to the grocery store, but she didn't want to go alone. R2LOL offered to accompany her and they set off on their adventure.
So at the store, R2LOL helped Mrs. Patil find all the items on her list and even offered to do the shopping for her. So as the two of them were moving around the aisles of the supermarket, R2LOL would stop and make jokes about different things it saw on the aisles of the supermarket. You know, something like, how does rice say goodbye?
I hope to see you again soon.
That's funny, right? What's the name of the Greek philosopher who loves rice?
Aristotle?
And Mrs. Patil couldn't stop laughing, and all the other shoppers couldn't help but smile at their antics.
After their successful shopping trip, R2LOL and Mrs. Patil returned home. R2LOL put away their groceries and even made a delicious dinner to enjoy together. As they sat down to eat, R2LOL cracked one last joke. I may be a robot, but I make one mean lasagna. Mrs. Patil was so grateful to have R2LOL in her life. From that day forward, the two of them were inseparable, and Mrs. Patil never felt alone or forgotten again. The end.
Nice story, huh? Did you really like it? Let me tell you a secret. Robots like R2LOL are out in the real world today. In fact, the Time magazine named a robot just like this is one of the greatest inventions of 2022. Hi there, you're listening to What's New Today, a kids and family podcast where you'll get to hear a lot of really interesting stories from the real world. This is Sangeeta, your host from India. And in every episode, I'm usually joined by some super curious children who love to share their ideas and opinions about these real life stories. So let me introduce you to my super curious co-host for this episode.
Hello everyone, my name is Nabiha Tabassum. I'm from class 11 and my school is Birla Balika Vidyapit Pilani and I'm 16 years old.
Hi, my name is Dupati Saanvy. I am 16 years old and I study in Birla Balika Vidyapit in 10th grade.
Wonderful. Saanvy, what's the most interesting robotic invention that you found this year?
I am a robot.
I found something about LEQ. I found it interesting.
LEQ is the name of the robot?
Yes.
No.
Cool. Can you tell us what does LEQ do that you found very fascinating?
LEQ is like, it's more proactive than your Alexa and Siri.
When you say it's more proactive, you mean when I ask Alexa to play a song or Siri to pull up some information from my phone, then Alexa or Siri would do it. But LEQ will do it by itself?
Yes, ma'am. LEQ actually remembers your interactions and your individual reflections, like what you like and what you don't like. And then in the meantime, it suggests new things every time.
Automated defense unit activated.
Wow, so if I have only played songs of a certain singer, let's say I love old Hindi songs and I've been listening to Kishore Kumar, or if I love the band Imagine Dragon, it'll remember. And when I come and sit near it, it'll say that I'm sitting and it'll just start playing.
It will first look at you and then it will ask you if you want to listen the music, and then it will suggest you if it is Kishore Kumar or Imagine Dragon if you want to listen to.
Great. This sounds really interesting. So, Nabiha, we are on this episode, we're talking about some of the robots that have been made for multiple different reasons. So, Saanvy just spoke about a robot called LEQ, which has been made to help the elderly. What do you think are the advantages of creating such robots? Do you really think we need such robots for old people?
I personally feel no, because the thing is, what machines can do, humans are better in it. They can interpret their feelings more nicely, and even elderly people get that feel. Rather than talking to a machine, they feel more comfortable when talking to a person.
Why do you think then the world is going ahead with building more robots rather than asking people to spend time with their elderly at home?
The jobs are increasing. They are no more set in a particular time. People have to work 24/7 for their jobs. So hence they're getting busy day by day. And I think so looking further, they won't be able to spend more time with their parents. So I think so that's why the robots are built, so that they could focus, so that the robots can help elderly people get engaged and engrossed. I would love all the modern forms of jobs from today, but I would suggest it should end by 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. Okay, so that when we come home, we spend our times with our parents and we are no more working.
We have no more work. Yeah, I completely agree. I think mobile phones are the first thing we should all junk. All those WhatsApp messages and email notifications that we get on our mobile phones after we come back from work, yeah, they really can take away the kind of focus and attention that we can give to our family. I think this is not just true for the elderly, it's probably equally true for even for our children. You know, many parents are unable to switch off from work and therefore unable to even spend time with their children. That is quite true. So how does this look? Does this look like a Google Home or an Alexa?
Do you know Groot?
Groot, yes, of course. He's one of my favorite characters from Guardians of the Galaxy. He's really cute.
So it looks somewhat like a Groot. So LEQ has two parts, the face and the screen. Now the screen is something like a phone which can be detached, and the face has a very big round ring on it which lightens up when it sees to you and talk.
Is it almost as small as Groot too?
Yes, it is as small as Groot.
So a little bigger than the palm of my hand, upright.
Yes.
Does it also say I'm Groot?
No, ma'am, it doesn't say I am Groot. It is, of course, it's LEQ.
It has a wider vocabulary, thankfully, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Okay. Wonderful. So it has to be plugged into some electric source all the time?
Ma'am, it is not necessarily, as once you have plugged in, then you don't actually move the LEQ out of its position. It's 24/7 plugged in.
Okay. So it's just sitting there and just talking and playing music.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I mean, I know we're both talking about an utopian existence, something we would like, but probably is unlikely to happen. So given the reality that a lot of the elderly are probably not going to find enough time and space, or what are the kind of problems that old people face because the younger people are not around to take care of them?
Okay, so the first is, it's not a disease, but yes, it's a type of disease. It's loneliness. It's the biggest factor that leads to other diseases, loneliness. So they feel lonely. They're not able to express their feelings. They don't feel like sharing it with anyone.
Yeah, that's very true. Do you know the difference between the word loneliness and the word being alone is?
I guess I find it same, but yes, I know they are two different words.
The loneliness means in your head. You can feel lonely even when you are around 100 people. You are unable to connect with them or you're unable to express your thoughts.
And as far as elderly people, they feel they are more connected to their children rather than other people. They feel that their children will understand them more than anyone else could do.
Yeah, that is very true. I totally agree with you on that. Okay, apart from remembering that, I love Kishore Kumar or I love whatever is my music that I love, apart from that, in what other ways is it better than an Amazon's Alexa or a Google Home?
LEQ is very much suited for the old people because they tend to forget their medicines. Based on the time of the day, LEQ will recommend what medicines they need to take.
Oh, wow. This is really very interesting. So it will observe the clock and it would check if it's afternoon and suggest whatever medicine someone has got to take right after their meals. This is really, really proactive. Where in the world do you think these kind of robots are likely to be quite useful? Do you have any sense?
Countries like USA, UK, like these have 24/7 jobs, and particularly I can say the profession doctor is like one of the most difficult sectors, especially pathology doctors who have to check reports. They are continuously 24/7 on their computers or on their laptops to check reports, and there are many other jobs. So I feel UK, England, and then migrating. So India will be next country as far as the developing jobs are over here also.
So where has LEQ been used? Is it something that a lot of people buy and keep in their homes?
Ma'am, actually LEQ is manufactured by an Israeli tech, but this was given out by NYSOFA, New York State officials for the Asian. So these New York officials have actually distributed this to the old people. It is actually a pilot program. It has been given to 800 people and they're looking forward that this can be reused.
So after someone's dead, this will go on to another person.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, and this is something that the state of New York and maybe other parts of the US and other countries might look to share with many more people if the
Yes,
program is successful. What do you find very, very interesting about a robot that helps old people? If you had to build a robot for old people, what's the one additional feature you would build?
One additional feature which I would like to build in a robot, that would be more like being in a human form.
Oh, so it would not be as small as Groot.
Yes. Or it should be moving around with the old people, because LAQ once fixed, then it cannot move by itself.
Okay, so you want something more like Vision from the Marvel Universe.
Yes.
Awesome.
That brings us to the end of this episode. If you loved listening to this banter, please remember to click follow, subscribe, and share the What's New Today podcast link widely with your friends and family, as well as please post them on social media so we can increase our listener base. New episodes drop every Monday and Friday, and
Thanks for listening.